we're back with Realms of Tolkien Images of Middle-earth. Let's get back to where we left off. We're back at Helm's Deep with the Battle of the Hornburg and Core Block illustrating, and I learned something interesting is that apparently he wanted to tell a story using kind of a medieval tapestry style of illustration, and his brother suggested Lord of the Rings, and that's where we got this piece. And I think that's a really cool concept, and I really love the stylization of everything. Yeah, and these little fellas down here being, I think, the orcs, some combination of orcs and soldiers here, and then I think this is perhaps Gandalf leading the charge, or it's also could be Theoden. But either way, it is a fun illustration, especially just because it's such an interesting design choice to come at it from that kind of restriction as like a medieval tapestry. Oh man, we're back with Ted Naismith and the Nazgul. So Ted Naismith, great for environments, but also some really cool creature slash like just design. And here we have our winged Nazgul on their fell beasts, and this fell beast is very dragon-like, and yeah, real long skinny snout there, and very bat-winged. I really love this conception of Barad-dûr, this very angular, just almost like a single spire of like a church, and then the eye, not this like flaming orb, but like almost like a sign. It's such an interesting way to take it, and I love how like emblematic it is. But just, yeah, look at these clouds. Look at that moon. It's a great ominous piece. Oh man, we're back with Fletcher, and this is a wild one, folks. This is the Lord of the Nazgul enters the gates of Gondor. And so this is supposed to be the Witch King. And this is just so surreal, so kind of geometric. Like you'd almost see the flat plains that make up this horse. And I like this guy down here, this soldier with an arrow through him. Maybe not soldier, maybe just guy, but it definitely looks like it's from reference. Like I can almost see the reference photo for it. It's just that's very much what's going on. And then people love drawing that invisible head for the Witch King, and he's got his crown, his slightly visible face, and he's just got lightning coming off of him. It's wild, and I feel like we're not going to see stuff like this very much anymore. This just kind of wild invention when it comes to illustrating Tolkien. Oh man, okay, so I remember this one from seeing it as a kid and being horrified. This is Ungoliant. This is Ungoliant and Melkor, which are the Ungoliant is the parent of Shelob, and of course Melkor. And of course Melkor is Morgoth, is essentially Sauron's boss. And I like the restraint on the design for Melkor or for Morgoth here, because I feel like you could go real wild with it, and John Howe could go wild with it, but he chose a little bit more reservation because Melkor is not the main feature of this one. Here it is absolutely Ungoliant, and this long appendage of a head. Yeah, those nasty legs. I love like the skulls in its design. Just just a wild image, and that red sky really makes it glow. I'm super inspired by the works of Tolkien, and if you don't believe me, you can check out my comic, Sidequesters. And even if it doesn't initially look like it's inspired by the artistry that Tolkien brought to his work, I can tell you that I'm as inspired as I can be in crafting a believable world that has a deep history with characters with rich connections to not only their world but each other. And it is absolutely my intent to tell a story that is as deep as I possibly can make it, that also features a giant lizard man with a big golden hammer. So, if you're interested, this is the first complete story arc, first 8 issues in a single volume. You can buy it on my website. And I also, to add on to the world, just like Tolkien has in multiple ways, here are short stories in my Haxan anthologies of stories of magic users that are mostly on the dark and kind of creepy side. Each of these is 60 pages of short stories, and you can buy them on my website as well. So, and if you just want to give them a read, check them out on Global Comics. Here you have Carol Emery Phoenix, and this is, I guess, the pre. So this is an interesting moment that, if you haven't read the book, you may not be familiar with, and it's when his friends acknowledge that he has been planning to leave, that he's going to go on a long journey. This is, of course, Fellowship, and they're essentially laughing at him because he thought that he had been keeping it a secret, but no, he's well had. I don't know. It's an interesting moment to capture, and I just love the expressions on their faces, and Bag End looks nice and warm and cozy as it should. And we have the Battle of Five Armies with Capuchin Bazil again. And let's see, I don't think all 5 armies are accounted here, but I definitely see some dwarves and some elves, some men, and some orcs, which I love their, this stern looking orc. And then bats and, wargs. We're getting almost in there with the 5 armies, but still, okay. You probably remember me noticing that many times people drawing elves aren't drawing their pointy ears. Well, we got some pointy ears right there. So, bravo, bravo. We're still in The Hobbit, and this is Gerd Renshoff and Ron Plug illustrating Bilbo Flies on Eagle's Wings. And I really love the perspective of this one. And there is even like implied velocity with like how these wingtips fade out. And you got Bilbo up here, and it's just such an extreme angle. It's like the eagle is doing a barrel roll, and they're flying over what looks like the Misty Mountains or something like that. And he's before he's being dropped off, and I think it's a great depiction of this very actiony moment in the book. Really great. We're back with Core Block and the Mumak of Herod, or the Olifants. And I like, we have some warriors, and we have the giant elephant. I always found it interesting that he incorporated elephants, or gigantic monster elephants, into the story. And I'm just surprised more people haven't drawn them, or come up with inventive illustrations for them. But yeah, just yeah, again going with Core Block and his medieval tapestry illustration style, and it's just fun. I love this guy fleeing in a panic. That's awesome. And we have Lode Claes or Clash with the Gate of Moria. And with the Gate of Moria, you can't really do much design work on it because Tolkien already did it. And if you want it to be authentic, you got to base it off of Tolkien's illustration because he drew it himself. And in fact, I have a book that is all about Tolkien's illustration work himself that I'll talk about in the near future. But I think this is just a really lovely painting. I really love the colors. This kind of like sea green and these muted blues and grays. It's just it's a very nice like moonlit illustration. Here we go, Timothy Ide and the Prancing Pony. And I believe, yeah, this is Frodo getting up to sing a song. And this illustration is just all about all of these crazy great characters all scattered throughout this inn. And I just love all these unique faces. I don't know. I love paintings, illustrations where you get just this big mob of characters, and each one is distinct and unique and interesting. And then over here we have, I think, the Hobbits still, and even further back here you may notice Strider or Aragorn. It's a great detail to incorporate in that. Just one that you could just have a group of characters in there and whatever, and it's still a great illustration. But the fact that he's included in there, it's like, okay, well, not only were they illustrating it just on its own, but they put it in the context of the story and incorporated a little Easter egg there, you could say. Also, just an interesting, because I don't know, I feel like people who are familiar with the films might look at this Frodo and be like, isn't he kind of old? But like Frodo's supposed to be like in his 40s or 50s when he starts the journey. Although I guess hobbits age differently. Here we go, Nicholas, Beoraki, and Beorn. I mean, just have the human form of Beorn. And I really love just this pose, the simplification of the form, the gaze out, this big amazing axe here. Yeah, this is wonderful. I love his little satchel around his waist. His knife, his workman's knife. He's got this little metal kind of ringlet around his head. But yeah, it's a really, really nice illustration. I don't know. I'd love to see more character pieces kind of like this, where it's just one character and it's has all the right emphasis to it. Very top heavy, which fits. Oh man, I love this illustration by Alan Lee. This is great. So it's two orcs, and I remember, it's two orcs in conversation. I love this little eye emblem that they have on their helmets. It's not like a ratty, quickly painted on eye. This is a manufactured emblem. And I really love that. I also love that they both are wearing kind of cobbled together armor. And it's different. Each one's different. And like this is kind of like plate scale armor. And this is just kind of straight plate. He's got some chainmail under there. Each of their helmets is slightly different. And I just really love the great amount of detail here. And Alan Lee, who's usually has such a gentle hand, does an amazing job with character design here, because like they're both orcs, they're both clearly orcs, but like they look different. They look distinct from each other. You could pick them out, and yeah, just love how beat up everything is. There's just a dull shine to all their armor and stuff, as there should be. Shouldn't be nice. And yeah, just the lighting and atmosphere of it is so good. Yeah, and I love the length of it. I love how it's a long panel here, but we could have, yeah, a lot of headspace, and even in the headspace, it's really lovely. It's this lovely, like, kind of wet on wet technique up there. It's great. John Howe proving that he was indispensable to the film production team, and this is Bag End, obviously, and very much the Bag End that we see in the film. But I think Tolkien's description of it is so evocative that there's very few artists I've seen render Bag End that it didn't look like Bag End. And I just, yeah, it's perfect. It's this perfect, warm home. Love the gentleness of rendering this wood carving there. Like it's not too deep, you should say. Like it's not too distinct. It's just along the surface, and it's even kind of smooth. So yeah, it's just wonderful. And I love the designs in the windows. Here we have another Treebeard, this one by Alessandra Chima Toribus. And I think this is, I mean, I love these borders when they put them on there. And I love this blue Treebeard. He's very tree. He's got a beard. I'm into it. And I don't know. It's just a great little character piece. And it's not depicting a scene. It's just, this is the Treebeard. And I think the technique is wonderful. And I love all these little design elements around the edge. And yeah, I'd love to see more of these pieces. Here we are, Ted Naismith and poor Frodo and Sam just wandering through, I think it's Emmenwheel, and they're all these nasty cut your foot rocks that they're stumbling through. And just, yeah, that looks like a cold wind. Look at those, again, look, Ted Naismith is amazing with these clouds. And also, this looks like a real place. But somehow it isn't. And he's able to have, like, these places where, like the rocks here are kind of brownish, but then they shift to kind of gray. And it seems natural. And in fact, the fact that it's distinct brings it forward, but it's also not too designy or too arty where it stands out too much. It just seems like a natural progression of the stone. It's just so good. So good. Feel bad for them. Oh man, Michael Kaluta back with my favorite character, maybe? Eowyn, and facing off against the Witch King, or the Lord of the Nazgul. Now, this is just such a great illustration. I love her armor here, just because it doesn't seem specifically fitted for her, because she just, took whatever standard armor there was. Love all these just tore up people surrounding them on this battlefield. You got the hint of Minas Tirith back there, and this thing is just about to chomp her, but she's still about to whip that sword around and chop its head off. And just, yeah, all the design elements. And look at just the design of this Witch King. I really love his like invisible head here with the crown and the eyes. It's just, it's such a delicate line. And you have poor Theoden down here. Yeah. You know, yeah. Probably another fallen soldier back here. Yeah. It's just, it is. There is a fierce energy in this illustration, and I love it. Yeah, definitely look into Michael Kaluta, and I will do as much as I can showing off more of his work. Here we go. John Howe and his version of Smog. Apparently, there's a great story about this illustration in particular where he said it took a lot of work and a lot of effort to figure out how to have his head curl up like a dog on his feet, and that he had to kind of coil that head around a couple of times. But just, yeah, I really love this design for Smaug. I love the gold fading into red, and I love all the red fading into this deep purple up here. All that gold is glowing, and I love glowing gold. I feel like illustrators just key point, always make your gold glow. And then I love, these little like kind of tendril fishy bits hanging off of his tail, kind of like webbing bits. His really sharp little talons on the edge of his wings. And then the suggestion of the design elements of the dwarves in their mountain hall. Yeah, it's iconic, babes. Also, John Howe's got a cool signature. Here we have Gerd Renshoff and Ron Plug again, and this is the Hobbit, the Hobbit, and I guess this is the dwarves climbing up the steps to get to the hidden place, the hidden entrance to the Lonely Mountain. And it's such an interesting choice because the last time we saw them, they were doing the eagle flight with Bilbo on the back, and it was just this extreme angle. And this is also a really fascinating composition. Love this big tree coming in here and these ancient steps, and we're just seeing the last of them going up. And I don't know, it's just, I think it's a bold choice. I feel like most people would want to like show all the characters, their faces, so you can give them all distinct looks and such, and it's like no, they got a long way to go, and that's what I feel when I look at this, and I feel like that's what makes it a powerful illustration. It makes me think, makes me feel. And it's not just like, oh, that looks cool. Oh man, core block, having fun here with probably the most fascinating version of the riddles in the dark, and that's Bilbo and Gollum. Look at this Gollum. He's like that duck rabbit you've seen. It's like an optical illusion. Man, I really enjoy this. I just think it's getting at the essence of it. And he's this mysterious being. You don't know what he is. He's a creature of some kind, but yet it's clear through the way they're posed here. They are having an exchange. They are talking here, and I think it's fascinating. Oh man, Alan Lee back with the Black Gate, and I think pretty much this is that scene, from the film and of course the book, with the Easterlings coming in, and we have Alan Lee's very bony skeletal Gollum, but still very on model for what we would expect to see Gollum look like. And of course, poor Frodo and Sam here, just looking pretty terrible. And then the Black Gate here that they will not be able to pass. And yeah, just love the distinct kind of architecture that so many of these artists give to the land of Mordor, or just any of the cultures. That's something that I always kind of geek out about, is when an artist very deliberately designs a culture from the kind of homes they have, the kind of ornamental artifacts that they have, what their weapons look like, what their tools look like, what their art looks like. I love it. We got Ted Naismith and Frodo saying goodbye to Sam, and Gandalf and Galadriel saying goodbye to Middle Earth. It's a hell of a moment to illustrate, and yeah, I think it's very powerfully done. Ted Naismith just bringing that realism there. And of course, we got Bilbo and Merry and Pippin there. It's very emotional. It's so emotional. It's so wonderful. I love the design of that boat. There we go. Here's mostly just a character piece by John Howe. Really lovely border here to this illustration. But here we have Galadriel and her mirror. Everybody loves Galadriel and her mirror. That's like a powerful image for her. And I think it's fast. I think it's really neat to see so many artists take that subject matter and figure it out. And she's got her ring there. Yeah, I mean, her hair's long, so you don't see her ears. But trust me, it's Galadriel. Oh man, Carol Emery Phoenix drawing Bilbo going ham on some spiders, stabbing the shit out of them. I don't know. I've always loved this pose and like just this whole scene, and he's just flipping out on these spiders, and just it's a fun image. It's great. Love his like crazy like roar. It's awesome. Now this is just an amazing piece. This is Stephen Hickman, and he's got this piece and then the next piece after it. And this is old Gaffer Gamgee and the Black Rider, and I don't think old Gaffer Gamgee knows what he's up against. And I mean, it's an oil painting, and you can even see the texture in the paint there. But just look at this amazing detail on the design work on this Black Rider's armor, this intense horse, the autumn scene in the background of Hobbiton. Yeah, and even like getting the details on, the light coming out here, hitting the little highlights on the door, this leaf blowing across, even the little hairs on his feet, and his little thin pipe. Yeah, what an incredible image. And just it feels epic. It feels this kind of style. It turns Lord of the Rings from a fantasy story and into like a great work of literature. I mean, not that it isn't anyway, and not that any of these are less than that or aren't a part of that. It's just this feels epic. And speaking of epic, here we have the siege of Minas Tirith. And I can't tell you how incredible this painting is. From this like troll or orc over here, all of these orcs down here pulling the wolf's head, battering ram, the Oliphants over here, the siege towers that look like dragons, the Witch King leading the way, fallen monsters. Yeah, this is epic. This is incredible. And there's even like characters riding inside this siege machine. And that is how we end it, folks. That is it. for this amazing, amazing book. And we have like some information about the artists back here and a little bit about their biographies. But that is Realms of Tolkien, Images of Middle-earth. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of fun looking at it, and I am grateful to have you along for it. And yeah, I mean, this image alone right here, the elephants, or the Oliphants getting attacked by the men of Gondor, you know, it's incredible. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.